Mr. City Manager,
Yes, sir.
never mind. I see it registering already. Never mind. We are good. Yeah, I had the spirit recording, you know what I mean? But the guy showed up today. Like, you know what? I ain't gonna say it. Oh, by the way, we're live. We're live. How you doing, sir? Everybody on the panel will be with you here shortly. Yes, sir. Kidding me. Yeah. Factor. Everybody just doing a couple of stuff.
It looks like you're live now.
Okay, you got it?
It looks like.
All right, everybody. Everybody's patience. All right. All right, good evening, everybody. Today is Monday, May 6, 2024. This is the City of Camilla City Council meeting. We are on the first floor at City Hall in the Honorable Mary Jo Haywood Council Chambers. And at this time, I'd like to turn to our city clerk, assistant city manager, Sheriff Ford, to call the roll, please.
Councilman Barton,
Here.
Councilman Morgan,
Here.
Councilman Collins,
Here.
Councilman Fowler,
Here.
and Councilman Palmer.
Here. All right, thank you, council, and thank you, Sheriff. At this time, council, is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved. Second.
A motion is properly second. Any discussion? All right, council, I'd like to ask if we could have a motion for a substitute motion to add a couple of items for tonight and to add or to move on the discussion items up to in front of the action items, because this particular discussion item will be will lay the foundation for it, literally the bulk of this agenda for today. So what I'd like to ask council, is there a motion or substitute motion to add item 15, which is a library donation fund consideration?
Added to the action item?
As an action item, yes. And item 16, and council, you have that ordinance in front of you regarding an ordinance of the City of Camilla, Georgia, granting certain executive and administrative powers to the mayor. Item 16. And also part of that, subsequent motion is to move item 5, property tax and utility rate stabilization, to the beginning of this meeting as it relates to the action items. So at this time, council, go ahead.
And what number would you like to move 5 into the action item? What number?
It'll be at the beginning, so because it's not an action item per se, it'll just set the rest of the agenda off. All right, council, is there a motion for the substitute motion to add those items? Motion.
The motion has to be made from.
Yes, so this is a substitute motion. Yes, sir. So we have a motion, then we have to get a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, it's been properly second, and again, it's a substitute motion. Any discussion related to the substitute motion? All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries, and what I got was a unanimous deal for the changes. Okay. All right, thank you, council. All right, at this time, any speaker appearances? Oh, come on up, man, please.
My name is Julie Tucker, and I live at 178 Court Drive. And thank you for allowing me to come and speak. First of all, I want to thank the council for the $100 credit on the utility bill. That was a help, and we appreciate that. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one And I wanted to make the council aware of, the Sahuarita Council on Aging. We are gonna be having a resource fair and farmers market that we normally have at the Cross Church, but this year it's gonna be held at the depot. And it's gonna be June the 28th, and it'll be from 9 to noon. So I have some copies here, if you would allow me to pass them out to the,
If you can put them on the corner there, we'll have to make sure we post that.
and there might be an extra too. Y'all can make copies, let me have one back, this top one. The front side is just basic information about it, and what you have to be is 60 or older to be able to participate. Well, if you have to be 60 and older to come to the resource fair. And then if you are 60 and older and there's an income limit, if you qualify, there's $50 free to the person that qualifies for fruits and vegetables. And last year it was really nice. They employ some local farmers, and they come and set up their produce. They have nice little big bags that they fill it full of fruits and vegetables, and it's really nice and fresh stuff, and so we appreciate that. But this has to be filled out, and what I do with the senior center, you can fill it out, and if the person is elderly and they can't get there, then they can assign a proxy. So a proxy can come. And with the seniors, the senior center has to be signed in 2 places, so make sure that they sign the back of it. But you can make copies of this, is what I'm trying to get to. You can make copies and distribute to your churches or to just whoever you want to distribute it to, you can do that. And so anybody that's 60 and older can come through the resource fair, but you have to meet the income requirement to be able to get the $50 farmers market items. And so there's that information. Everything else you can just read, and it's self-explanatory. But for Camilla, you can actually go to any of these places on New Moultrie, Camilla, or Conquet, and they serve different counties. But you can only get, if you qualify for the $50 free farmers market items, then you can only get that from one place. Because you fill this out, it's signed, and they enter it into their system. And what I tell our folks, y'all get it to me. If y'all got a church full of people that you want to do that qualify, and that's wonderful. We want as many people. We're moving it from there to a bigger location, so that we're hoping, it'll be, because it's kind of tight where we are. They'll have at least 20 vendors that'll go through and they have all kinds of free stuff that they give away that are age appropriate, like not just peel boxes and rollers and all kinds of other things that you can just pick up, water and candy and fans and all kinds of things that they give away, cups and other items. So anybody that's 60 and older can go through the resource center. But to get the fruits and vegetables, you have to meet that qualification. And it's really good stuff. So I just want to make y'all aware of that. And it's okay to make copies of this. It doesn't have to be the nice color copy. But I have them at the senior center to fill it out and bring it to me, just to make sure. I said, I don't care what your income is. To fill it out and check it. I'm just checking to make sure all the boxes are filled out, because they'll go ahead and get our information and have it loaded into their system. So when they get there, they can just pick up their voucher. They can just look at their name and give them their voucher. If this is not, they can fill this out there, but then they'll have to fill it out there and wait for them to enter it in their system, and then they get the voucher. So it just makes it a little bit quicker. And I would be delighted if y'all collect some, just contact me, and I'll be glad to pass them on it's gonna be probably the middle of June when I hand ours in to Jamie at the Council on Aging in Albany. And so, I'll be glad to take anybody else's that would like me to have them, and that's it.
All right, and then what was the date again?
June the 28th, it's a Friday from 9 to noon.
Jamie Harper?
Jamie Harper, right,
Okay.
is the person. You probably have her in your thing, because she had called me and asked about some places, and I had told her that y'all had changed the way you go to get the depot and that kind of thing. And she had mentioned some other places, but I'm glad that she decided on the depot. And like I said, the vendors are really, it'll be it'll be a lot of good information for elderly people or somebody who's trying the responsibility of taking care of an elderly person. You know, it'll be a lot of good information for them.
And depending on the rate that you guys are getting charged, is it be okay with you, Mr. City Manager, for either Ms. Harper or Ms. Tucker to contact you, and we can talk about to make sure that you guys are getting that good rate?
Okay, I'm sure she's talked to somebody here, because I told her, but I don't know who, well, she probably didn't, she just probably went online and filled out, so I don't know, but she would love to get a good rate, that would be awesome, because we are helping, you know, a lot of good people, you know, need that service, and so, okay.
All right, appreciate you, Ms. Tucker.
Okay, any questions?
When you speak of the senior center, where's the senior center? Where you?
That's at the Cross Church, and I've come a few times, but the senior center is located at the Cross Church. And we meet every Tuesday from 10 to 12. And then sometimes we do some outside activity. We extend it when we do a big meal. There's a couple of times a year, like Valentine's, we do a big Valentine's banquet, and we turn the whole hall into the fellowship hall into just a banquet type situation. And then we, like 4th of July, we've done a big, and we have a big barbecue, and we've had some folks come and barbecue for us. And so we extend it to 1, but that's just a few times a year. The rest of the time, it's from 10 to 12. And we just have fun. We have speakers that come in and talk to us and play games and try to keep it fun and entertaining. And because I figure at our age, we just want to have fun. It ain't just girls that want to have fun. It's us seniors want to have fun. We want to come out and play too. So, anyway. All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate you, Ms. Tucker.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other speaker appearances?
Yes,
So come on up, right? Hoorah, Devil Dog,
Hoorah.
the fellow Marine, everybody.
Hey guys, so my name is Austin
Did
Rhodes.
you just make copies of
Ms.
it?
Rose, hit that green button. Press that button, it's
From the back?
There you go. Yes, sir.
Hey guys, so my name is Austin Rhodes. I'm a private Marine as well, Marine from North Carolina. I moved here about, I want to say 5 to 6 months ago. I moved to Dickinson, Georgia. Along my move and everything, I was working on a couple of projects that started from VH1 to also the projects that were on Lifetime, BET, and a bunch of other feature films, some that were at Atlanta, Georgia, others that were out of LA. I moved here, one, because it's away from, you know, huge mass of people. I'm more in the countryside, so it's just nice and very peaceful for me. But the reason why I'm here today is because I will be shooting a film. I plan on shooting a film here in Manila. And with the process of doing that, I've gotten all of the equipment that I need to make this all possible. So if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to hand out, obviously, my pitch deck to you guys so you guys can see what's accomplished and what's to come within the project itself.
Well, what you can do, because you got 3 minutes, unfortunately, if you leave it there, we can go ahead and take a look at it. You just go ahead and just give us a summary of what you got going on.
So I'm gonna leave it right here.
Yes, sir.
So the summary of it's a theatrical drama. And what I plan to do and what I plan to bring is Emilio Rivera. I have really good context. Emilio Rivera is an actor that was on Sons of Anarchy and also The Mayans. He's been on a lot of other projects, and basically what I plan on doing is shooting a film. This part of the film is going to be in Orlando because I have a friend that has a studio with like a prop room, jail cell, cleaning things, storage, a bunch of other things. So it was feasible for me to go and bring him there. However, most of the film is going to be shot in Camilla, and I think that this is definitely going to create more growth within the city. And also I think it will be beneficial as well just to show the city charm, the culture and the community itself. And then also referring back to the growth of it, it shows opportunity and what we can do because if everything's smooth and sail, what I would like to do is film a few other films here as well. I'm working on a comedy. With one of the contacts that I have, he will be bringing on Danny Trejo. He is from Machete and a bunch of other things, does still down as well. Really known actor, but what this does obviously is lightens up the community as well. Regardless, I'm going to, push forward, and get my funds together. I would ask if anyone is willing to do like a grant or a loan or something like that, that would be extremely helpful for me because within the paperwork that I'm giving you guys, it shows my budget, what I've spent so far, majority of it. It shows the synopsis of the story and just kind of my background and stuff as well, so you guys can look me up. You guys look at my name, Austin J. Rhodes. You can see all the work that I've done in the past as well. Is there any questions?
What I would tell you, Mr. Rose, is if you don't mind, and again, to our awesome city manager here, we do have a grant here in the city, and ironically, last year we passed for the first time, and you're obviously benefiting from that, is a filming ordinance, not ordinance, but a plan, if you will.
Yes, sir.
We set that up for the first time here in the city, which is obviously making it possible for you to work with planning and zoning. We set that up. But also, one of the things that we did is that we created an arts grant. So depending on your budget and it's a percentage of it, obviously, we don't do the whole thing, but there's a percentage of it. We've had our plays, a couple of plays benefit from that. We have some happening this summer, we're supposed to take advantage of that. So surely, filming a film here would qualify for that. So what that amount would be though, if you don't mind, just give the city manager what we can do for you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Any other questions?
We'll forward to the package and see what's inside the package, but we do definitely appreciate you coming and, just the interest in Camilla itself.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely want to also make a statement that when I move to whatever place that I plan on moving, because I moved here from Sarasota, Florida, I plan on definitely using the tools and everything that I have within my whatever arsenal that I want to kind of film within that area and try to bring my own set into it as well as within helping the city any way that I can.
Yeah. All right, great.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Any other speaker appearances? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our action items, and as I mentioned before, at the beginning of the approval of the agenda, everybody, I moved item 5 of the discussion items up front. Last week, we had an opportunity, the council, and I believe earlier today, afforded an updated overview of an analysis of our utility rates, and specifically our electricity rates here in the city. Part of that report indicated, and I'm getting a little wonky here as it relates to some of the data that I'm sharing with you, but just to make sure, and I know some of this is not going to make any sense, but here in the city of Camilla, we have about 7 megawatts of reserve capacity, if you will. So in other words, regardless of who comes here, restaurant, apartment complex, whatever the case may be, we have about 7 megawatts of capacity and about another 7 to 10 watts of capacity to actually send the energy out to the home or to the business. And one of the things that the analysis indicates was that for the type of growth that we are attempting here in the city, if we're just utilizing MCT or the municipal trust, which we don't, we obviously have other revenue coming into the city, that amount of energy wouldn't be enough to pick up the gap, if you will. And this is one of the reasons why here in the city of Camilla, we're doing all of this stuff, coming up with film policies and these types of things to try to bring other revenue to the city. Because one of the things, and I think I speak for the majority of this council, that as I sit in this seat, we are not raising electricity rates on the citizens of this city. It ain't gonna happen. We're not raising property taxes on the citizens of this city. If the city of Camilla needs more revenue, then what's gonna have to happen is the elected folks sitting around this table is gonna come in with some ideas to help grow this town. We're not going back to the citizens of this city asking for more money. And part of the report was saying, well, if you raise your rates this much, you would get this much of a margin to try to help make up the difference. Ain't doing that. Not doing it. We're not raising rates on the citizens of this city. Folks that have put their name on the ballot, come here and represent this town, so we have to come to this doggone dais and come up with some ideas to help move us forward. And the reason why I want to move this ahead of the agenda today is because the other 16 items below this indicates that the majority of this council is serious about growing our economy. We're not going back to the folks to make up the difference here in the city, and we're not going to rely solely on the municipal trust to make up the difference. So to make this kind of make sense, a lot of what we do here in the city and the bills we pay, we transfer money in from our electric fund into the general fund to make up the difference. The city of Camilla right now financially is doing very well. And Mr. City Manager, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think when we had our conversation with our latest clean audit, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months of capacity, if you will, to pay our bills. So that is to say that if another penny did not come to this town right now, we can still run this city almost to the end of the year with no problem. As a matter of fact, this is one of the reasons why, as Ms. Tucker mentioned, we gave a second round of utility credits to the citizens of this city. So all told, we've given, or returned, I think that's the better word, we've returned $400 of electricity bill revenue, or if you will, of credits back to the citizens that created it. And we've done that in the last 8 months or so. And any indication this is something that we want to try to continue to do. Obviously, we'll take it year by year, but we're serious about taking care of the citizens of this city. So regardless of the report or anything, we are not raising taxes on the citizens of this town. As a matter of fact, you're paying your lowest property tax that you've paid in 15 years in this city. You're paying one of the lowest rates that you've paid as it relates to your utility rates when you consider the PCA in this city in years. We believe, the majority of this council believes, that you know better to do with your money than the government does. So we'll let you keep it in your pocket. Okay? So with that being said, in order to make sure property taxes stay low and to ensure that utility rates stay low, we have to figure out other ways to create revenue. And I'm very excited about some of the stuff that we are doing in the city. So with that, council, before we move to the first action item, wanted to just check to see if you had any questions regarding that.
Yeah, can we get confirmation on the current PCA rate? What is it set at the moment?
I want to say 3, don't have it in front of us, but it's 3, I believe it is 3.5, but we'll get that to you. Good question. And everybody, if you're wondering, your power cost adjustment is basically a fancy way of saying that number can fluctuate up or down based on what's happening in the market. And you'll see that indicated on your bill. If you go down the right side, you'll see a number like 0.000035. We lowered that from 4. So that was one of the elements of lowering your bill to ensure, again, bringing some relief. We did that last summer, and we kept rolling it that way to bring some relief when you had that very hot summer last year. So great question, Councilman Ward. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Council. So our first item tonight is the ordinance number 2024-0506-1, compensation increase for elected officials. As you know, or if you were not aware, for the last month or so, or 3 weeks, we have run in the paper or have advertised in the paper that this pay increase would happen. We had a conversation last month regarding the pay increase. Right now, here in the city of Camilla, the mayor makes $300 a month and before taxes, and the council members make $200 a month. That hasn't changed since 1986. So the mayor in 1986 is making the same amount of money as the mayor in 2024. One of the things that we did, we adjusted for inflation, and council, what that means, and for the public, is that if the council approves this ordinance tonight, what that would mean is the mayor's salary would increase to $10,200 per year versus the $3,600 that's happening now, and council members would increase to $9,000 per year, up from the $2,400 that they're making now. And again, we didn't get real fancy with this. What we did, we just did the rate of inflation since 1986 to now, in order to get to that number. Also, as part of this ordinance, is a $200 a month. Well, let me back up. If this is approved, this pay increase does not go into effect until January 1st, 2026. Okay? So the law ensures that because there was an election in November and folks were reelected, we can't come back in and be like, yeah, let's go ahead and get loaded up. You have to wait till another election for that to happen. So even if this is approved, this pay increase would not take effect until January 1st, 2026, so nearly 2 years from now. Okay. Also, as part of this, is a $200 expense for each council member. So each council member would receive an additional $200 to their salary now. So this expense will actually kick in this month for all council members. And the rationale behind that is a very simple one. Have a look at this agenda. We have folks like Corey Morgan driving from here to Atlanta to Albany, Columbus, all over the place, bringing good policy back here for us to consider. Now, let me give you a prime example of what that means. It was Corey Morgan who last year came to this council and said, hey, listen, folks are getting hit over the head as it relates to, and specifically young folks of color, specifically, getting hit over the head behind marijuana charges. And the House now will be a pound. He had the insight to bring to, and this is due to conferences that he's going to on his own dime, to bring it back to this city. And what did we learn this week? That the federal government is in the process of reclassifying marijuana. This is the type of cutting edge stuff that members of this council is doing every single day. And if you look at this agenda, you don't get 16 agenda items and sending bills to the city of Camilla to help have these conversations. Majority of this council is working even when we're not in this room, which is evident by this deal. So that's by this agenda. So that's the purpose of the expense. I know for a fact, folks like Councilman Palmer, Councilman Collins, can't tell me Councilman Palmer is not doing city stuff. Longest serving member on this council. but I can only assume that there are elements of what he does on a daily basis that talks about moving this city forward. Now, we don't always agree on things, but you're not gonna convince me that Danny Palmer doesn't care about this city. So this is part of this particular process, everybody, as it relates to the expense. Again, we don't have to agree about how we move the city forward. But I think every single person on this council cares about this city. If they wouldn't, I doubt very seriously they would run or put their name on the ballot. So with that being said, and I have to say this before I ask for before I pose the question, that to the city manager, if there are council members who say that I don't deserve this or I don't want it, if you will, I think there's a mechanism to get the money back to the city. That's really up to you. We'll make a line item for that. As a matter of fact, I think one of the first steps we're gonna have to do is send the city manager an email to say, I don't want it. Madam Attorney, on that point though, does that seem about right that if a council member doesn't want this raise or doesn't want, or don't believe that they deserve this expense, that there's a way for them to get his money back if they want to?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. If for some reason any member, when the increase goes into effect next year, or even in today with the salary that you all are currently receiving, any member can write a check back to the city and pay the salary back. The city has to pay everyone the same compensation as approved by ordinance. And the same will go for expense, the expense allowance. And if someone doesn't want it, then they can certainly issue a check or refund back to the city for that amount.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. All right, so the way that ordinances work, they're a little bit different than resolutions here in the city of Camilla. In order for an ordinance to pass on the first read, is that it has to be unanimous. Every council member has to vote yes. If a council member votes no, we have to wait at least, I believe in our charter, it's either 2 to 3 days after the fact to vote on it again before it becomes, for lack of a better word, law, if you will. So that's where ordinances here in the city of Camilla is a little bit different than resolutions. So in order for this to pass tonight on its own, you would need every council member voting yes. Again, the expense amount will begin immediately, but the salary doesn't start until 2 years from now. Okay. Any questions regarding that? All right, council, is there a motion? Give me 1 second here. All right, council, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-0506-1, an ordinance to amend Part 1, Article 2, Section 2.13 of the mayor and council members of this code of ordinances to the city of Camilla, Georgia, to provide some ability to provide for repeal of conflicting ordinances, to provide an adoption and effective date, and provide other lawful purposes. And again, this is Section 2.13. Compensation and expenses. Council, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, let's do a roll call vote.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
No. Mayor votes yes. So what that means, everybody, is that the motion carries. However, you would need a second reading. So next Monday night, as it's currently scheduled, we will come back again with this ordinance. All right, thank you, council. All right, item 2, resolution number 2024-05-06-3, American Rescue Plan Act reallocations. So the city of Camilla received $1.8 million in ARPA funds from the federal government through the state. And the rule is you have to allocate all of the money. In other words, you have to say what you're going to do with it by the end of this year. And every year, we have to, send a report, to the treasury, letting them know how much money we've expended and what we plan on doing with the money. That's something that the mayor's had the responsibility of doing for the last couple of years. And we just did our report, this year in April, had to be reported by April 30th. We obviously beat that deadline and got it in. But we have some items or some projects that we've allocated funds for that have not used it, if you will. And again, by the end of this year, we have to allocate it all, and we have to spend it all by the end of next year. So to make sure that we reconcile all of these funds, council, what I'm gonna ask is that we, if we have not spent, I think I'm calling it 25%. 25% of the allocated amount, 25% of the allocated amount, then the balance of that will be put back into the general ARPA fund to be redistributed again. And I think this is something I think that'll be a great exercise for us during the budget season to see what we're going to do with the remaining funds of this. Right now, we have about 700,000 that isn't allocated in its traditional sense, if you will. Or I take that back. We have about 80,000 that is remaining, but of the 1.8 million, there's about 700,000 of that hasn't been spent yet. We've been doing a lot with ARPA funds here at the city of DeVille. One of the things this city council hasn't done with ARPA funds, we haven't paid any bills with that. We've been giving it back to the citizens of this city. And that's something that we will continue to do, or programs that benefit the citizens of this city. So we're looking at about $700,000 that have not been spent or encumbered at this point, council. So, council, what I'm asking is that is there a motion to approve resolution number 2024-05-06-3, a resolution of the city of Manila, to reallocate certain previously designated American Rescue Plan Act funds to authorize budget amendments and revisions pertaining to such reallocation, and to repeal any prior resolutions affected thereby. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion, properly second. Any discussion?
My question's been answered. I definitely want to know about how much has not been used out of the allocated. Just out of that 700,000, those 25% groups, how many is that roughly that we out of the allocated ones? Is it like 5 or 6 projects or?
Yeah, and I purposely had the resolution written this way because there may be some of those items that we may want to reboot, right? So there is no answer to that. What we did was just took the raw number. And when I did the report last month, we've allocated all but 80,000. But when you look at the bank account, there's still 700,000 in there. So there is no specific, there's no line or list of projects, if you will. I guess eventually we'll get there, if approved tonight, the staff will have to look at that. I hope that answers your question. Okay. All right, any other discussion? All right, we have a motion that's been properly second. All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, council, item 3, Piper Sandler financial agreement, and at this time, I'd like to turn it over to, at first, let me just introduce everybody. As everybody knows, we're dealing with about $5.1 billion bond here in the city of Camilla for our URA. And on the line today, we got some of the top folks in this business. We have Ed Wall, who hopefully would become our city's financial advisor, Molly Brennan, and Douglas Selby. And of course, we have our city attorney, Tony Wiley, on the line. These folks, in my opinion, are invested in the business. So, Ed, if you don't mind, I will turn it over to you, sir, just talk about, Piper Sound financial agreement, and I believe this is our agreement with you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. My name is Ed Wall. I was born and raised in Millersville, Georgia, and went to Georgia Tech and graduated in '84. And I've been in the municipal financial advisory bond business the last, it'll be 40 years in September. I've only worked in Georgia. I represent cities and counties and school boards all across the state, about 250 of them. And just north of you, I have represented Dougherty County for years, city of Albany. I've represented Cordele for years, Christmas County, Waycross, Glenn County, tons of cities and counties in the metropolitan Atlanta area. And I would look forward to representing y'all if you all were wanting to have the financial advisor.
All right, Ed, thank you. And Ed, what I'll do, and council, what I'll ask you to do is reserve any questions for Ed, if we get past the motion and second phase. If you have any questions for Ed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
please.
What Ed neglected to say is that he entered Georgia Tech when he was 16 years old. So he's a brilliant man, and he's well versed on financial issues. And our firm has enjoyed working with him for a number of years.
All right, and I appreciate that, Madam Attorney, and let me just say, just on that point, and I apologize to everybody. Ms. Wiley, Attorney Wiley is with Denmark Ashby, and I can tell you right now, from my perspective, when we made a decision to go to this firm, this is what we got. We got a complete firm that has introduced us to the world of finance as a city. We had not had that before. And when you're talking about where we're headed, we're going to need folks that have this type of knowledge, if you will. And I'm extremely grateful, and I think I speak for the majority of the council when I say that we are appreciative of our city attorney for exposing this city and exposing this council to this financial side of the world. So with that, council, is there a motion to approve the financial services agreement with Piper Sandler and having Ed Wall as our financial advisor, not only working with us on this bond issue, but other issues down the road? But at this time, council, is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion is properly second. Any discussions or any questions for Ed, council? All right, Madam Clerk, do a roll call.
Councilman Barley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, Ed. We look forward to working with you, my friend.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
All right. So next item of council is the Camilla Nation bond resolution. And for this, I will turn over to again Ed, or a combination of Ed, Molly, and Douglas as it relates to what this document is.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, I'll start off, and Doug, I'll have you continue. The URA hired Doug Selby and Molly to be bond counsel. Latanya and Denmark Ashby is the URA's counsel. We sent out bids all across the state to about 45 different banks. We received 4 bids. Truett Bank was the best bid at the lowest interest rate. They had a 20-year term, 8-year term. The interest rate was 5.29%. The city and the URA can prepay the bonds after 5 years with no prepayment penalty at all. The bonds are currently set to be paid with SPLOST revenues. If we vote a new SPOS later on, we want to pay a portion of the bonds off early we can. The URA will lease the gym to the city, and the city will make lease payments equal to debt service. The $5 million in bond proceeds will be invested at closing in Georgia Fund 1, which is a money market mutual fund run by the state of Georgia that cities, counties, and schools all across the state participate in. They invest in U.S. treasuries or agencies guaranteed by the U.S. government with maturity less than 90 days. The interest rate is 5.38%. The interest rate on the bond was 5.29. So the difference is you can see you're making a profit while you're waiting to spend the money. The URA has named the city as agent to carry out the construction, hire the general contractor to build and run it. Before you tonight is a resolution to approve an intergovernmental contract. The intergovernmental contract is the lease between you and the URA, which will make lease payments equal to debt service. Doug?
Good afternoon, council. My name is Doug Selby. I'm with law firm Hunt and Andrews Kerr. We practice in Atlanta, Georgia, but I've done transactions around the state like Ed. We represented some in your neighborhood like Garden County. We prepared a proposed ordinance of the city, which would authorize the city and the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the city and the Urban Redevelopment Agency. This is structured as an intergovernmental contract financing. These are the tools that are used around the state for financing any projects. The Urban Redevelopment Agency was created in 2023, as you know, by this council. It's authorized to do financings of this sort. As Ed indicated, if the council approves this, the URA would be empowered to issue bonds secured by an intergovernmental contract that the agency would sign. It's authorized by law. I'm happy to answer any questions about the specific structure of it, but it's a fairly straightforward intergovernmental agreement that would be for the services under the lease, that the intergovernmental lease agreement that would be approved by your approving this resolution. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, this may have been discussed in the URA meeting today, but do we have an estimate yet on the monthly bond payments?
Yeah, so, Ed, can you speak on the bond payments? I believe that we're doing something, it's not a traditional month-to-month deal, but I'll let Ed break that down, in terms of the payments.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The bonds are payable every February 1 and August 1. Every February 1 is a principal and an interest payment. Every August 1 is just an interest payment. The annual payment is right at $415,000 a year.
415 a year.
Yeah, Ed, can you repeat that one more time? Then you cut out just a little bit.
Yeah, so the annual payment's right at $416,000 a year on average.
Okay, and go ahead.
And then internally, I guess, what are we averaging on supplies?
Your councilmember on average SPOS is averaging right around 50, 51. So that's what you're averaging for SPOS every month.
That's $51,000.
Monthly. Monthly.
So 600,000 per year. So I want to make sure everybody heard that. We're using SPOS funds to pay this debt service. Debt service is going to be somewhere in the early 400s. We receive about 600,000 in SPOS funds. This is a penny that you're already paying. So this isn't an additional money for you. So if you hit those numbers, I just want you to, this is why when we say, when we ask you, as in the form of a referendum, we have to tell you what we're going to do with the money. And part of that, as Ed has pointed out, is for recreation, and we're building a gym for the first time in about 60 years for this community. And again, the note, for lack of better words, is about 417, and
About on average, $416,000 a year.
so 416,000. SPOS brings in roughly 600,000 per year. So I just want to make sure everybody is good on that. All right, any other questions for Ed?
Now, what was the term?
20 years.
20 years.
Yes, sir. All right. Molly, I'm not gonna leave you at the party. You got anything?
Thank you, I think they pretty much covered it.
Okay, thank you. All right. And Ed, and just so that we're all on the same sheet of music, the intergovernmental agreement is an exhibit to the resolution, so by approving the resolution, you are approving, or the council is approving, the IGA, is that right?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
All right, good deal. All right, I had two resolutions here, so if you don't mind, I'm just gonna do, both of them, just to make sure we're on the same sheet of music. So council, at this time, is there a motion to approve resolution number 2024-05-06-1? The resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Camilla authorizing inter alia, the execution of an intergovernmental agreement relating to the issuance of an urban redevelopment agency of the city of Camilla revenue bond, a multi-purpose gymnasium project series 2024. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion, proper second. Any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, spare roll call.
Councilman Garland,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer,
No. Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, council. Council, at this time, is there a motion to approve resolution number 2024-05-06-2, a bond resolution of the city of Camilla, urban redevelopment agency to provide the issuance, and I believe this resolution was attached to the URA. Correct me if I'm right on that, Ed.
But I don't think you have to approve that one, Mayor. Y'all just approved the IGA.
That's right. Good deal. All right. And in approving the motion that we just approved, that should settle, which would include the IGA also, correct?
Correct, Mayor. That's right.
All right. So from the panel, everything that we need to vote on related to this bond issue and the gym for tonight has been accomplished.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Council, and thanks again. No. All right. Item 6, the Georgia Fund 1 MEAD bank account. So, council, right now in one of our neighboring banks, or one of our city banks, if you will, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about $4 million in that neighborhood sitting in that account. Get a pretty good rate there, if you will. But as I mentioned before, one of the things that we have to do as a city is figure out different ways to bring in revenue without raising taxes and property and utility rates on the citizens of this city. And with our agreement with Ed, Council, I will be asking you here shortly to authorize Ed to use that $4 million that we have that is currently sitting in PNC Bank, to take that $4 million and commit that to the Georgia One Fund. Ed, before I ask the question, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, sir. So just for the city council, so deposits of municipalities, school boards, and authorities, like that $4 million, it has to be collateralized in an amount over and above the FDIC. After the Great Recession, FDIC insurance went from $100,000 to $150,000. So that $3,750,000 has to be collateralized, and that PNC Bank would take some of its own security, some of its own collateral, deposit with a third-party bank, and have that equal to 110% of the amount that's owed the FDIC insurance. A lot of local banks will pay a lower interest rate than the Georgia Fund 1 will. What is Georgia Fund 1? The Office of the Treasury of the state of Georgia created a division called the Local Government Investment Pool, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. And all of the state's money, the state's agencies, and any local government can participate. And it's a money market account. If you ever go to a bank, you can buy a certificate of deposit that has a fixed maturity date and a fixed interest rate. But you also can invest in a money market account. A money market account guarantees that the net asset value is always $1 and that it will pay interest. And you want your money tomorrow, you just tell them about 2 o'clock today and it's wired to your checking account. Well, Georgia Fund 1 is a money market account on behalf of the state of Georgia and all local governments. And by its dictates, it can only invest in U.S. Treasuries or agencies guaranteed by the U.S. Treasury, something like Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, Federal Home Loan Bank. And the maturity has to be 90 days or less. So every day they have a securities coming due. And I think the Georgia Fund 1 has something like $60 billion. And they have 4 professionals that work for the treasurer of the state of Georgia that manage it by buying these treasuries. And the Georgia Fund 1, 2 years ago, was paid 0.05%. But as the Federal Reserve started raising interest rates, they raised the Fed funds rate, the short end of the yield curve has gone higher than the long end. And so the Georgia Fund 1 now is paying 5.38%. In the $5 million for the donation that we're talking about on behalf of the city, I think I bid out who would pay the highest interest rate on that. Truist would pay off 4.25% because they have to collateralize the deposit. Under Georgia law, if you invest in securities guaranteed by the U.S. government, you don't have to have it collateralized. That Georgia Fund 1 currently is paid 5.38%. And so it's a money market account. You have your checking accounts locally. You put that money in the money market account. You want your money tomorrow, let them know by today at 2 o'clock. And many local governments across the state use it. And it's just a way for you to get a higher interest rate if you want.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I recall that we could use here in the city, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the max is you have 2 accounts at a time. Is that right, or something similar to that?
Correct. So you can have 2 accounts at the Georgia Fund 1 as a city at the same time.
All right. So council and for the public, so everybody understands what I'll be asking is, and what the intent is, that we'll be putting roughly close to $10 million collectively in these 2 accounts. Roughly 4 from MEAG, Reverend Rome, the city manager, is about $4 million from there, and then obviously the deal from the bond. And go ahead, please.
Do you know what interest rate you're getting on the 3.84 million now?
We had some discussions, but I don't believe is what you're quoting at Georgia 1.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and so that that there's full transparency here. The idea is here in the city of Camilla, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing business a little bit different going forward. And that means diversifying everything that we do in this town. There are some things that, quite frankly, as mayor of this city, that I've seen and that I've heard related to folks that are in positions when we're talking about improving our sewer system and folks down the road that kind of stuff. Folks not even 2 blocks up the road weighing in on things that obviously has absolutely nothing to do with them. But these are folks that are in positions, frankly, that can attempt, and I'm not guessing here, it was written in a certain news article that the whole attempt was to try to leverage the city in some kind of way. So we're going to be, so outside of the increase in potential revenue as it relates to the interest, we just believe that it's in, and I'm hoping anyway, that the majority of this council can see the benefit in diversifying. We love Southwest Georgia, we love this city, but there's potential more opportunities outside. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that it's not necessarily all about the interest. That's a big part. I want to make sure everybody understands that. And folks can quote me on that if you like. All right. Any other questions for Ed?
Yeah, can I get the number again, the MEAG dollars that we're moving?
Yeah, so, that number is somewhere between 3.8 and $4 million.
And this is the restricted account or the?
No, so that is great. Yeah, great question. So this is the money that we drew down from the flexible account to be used for economic development here in the city and for other purposes. And what we had that money parked is at PNC in anticipation for that. But we're going to take it out of there and with your approval, have Ed do all things necessary to get it over to the Georgia One Fund.
And Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I don't make any money on this. The state of Georgia, charges 2 basis points annual fee on everybody who's in the fund. That 5.38 is after you pay their fee. But me personally, Georgia Fund One don't pay me, you don't pay me, I'm just your financial advisor. I don't get a commission on any of this. I just want to make sure y'all know that.
And I appreciate that, Ed. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. All right, any other questions, Ed, before the question, council? All right. So, council, at this time, is there a motion to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary paperwork to facilitate the transfer or staff, the transfer this money to Georgia Fund One, and to authorize our financial advisor Ed Wall to help facilitate this transaction? Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion proper second. Any other discussion?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
this is a knife in the back to this community to move local money out of the city to Atlanta. This money is used by local banks to finance farmers, purchase cars, tractors, pickup trucks, lawnmowers, whatever you want to think, and to move local money out of this community is just the poorest, sorest way of economic development I have ever heard of. And it's a knife in the back and you twist it.
Yeah.
This is a poor way to do business.
Yeah, what I find interesting about those comments, Councilman, is that you voted against bringing the $4 million down here in the first place. So
I vote again.
So that's why your statements are a bit confusing to me.
Facts are facts.
But again, the majority of this council, I think had the foresight enough about a year and a half ago to bring this money down here to be used in economic development. And Ed, if I'm hearing you correctly, this money doesn't go in the lockbox. If we need it, we just ask for it. Is that right?
That's right. You want it tomorrow, you let the ask for it by 2 o'clock today.
Yeah, I can't give too many comments professionally into the adjectives that were used earlier. But what I can say is that everybody sitting around this table has a fiduciary duty to this city. And if someone is against putting the city in a position to make more, I don't understand that. But, that's why we vote. All right, any other questions?
Question about this, I can appreciate Ed and the rest of the panel for their expertise in bringing, and of course, our city attorney for bringing, Camilla, opening our eyes to resources that is beyond the city of Camilla. And I think, yeah, it is by far past time for diversity to happen. I think diversity can be a great thing. And I think it's time that we tap into those things, because it is now time for us to move and stop lagging behind and being left behind, because we simply do not want to make people pissed off. It's time to move from there, but put our city at best interest, so that our city can thrive and that everybody can feel safe, everybody can maneuver around the city of Camilla, everybody can prosper. It is time I put it. And anytime we can put our city in a great place, economically, you name it, morally, you name it. When we talking about people coming from outside, don't know nothing about the city of Camilla, but ready to invest in the city of Camilla. But yet we want to tussle with that. Don't always, it's not the best ways always. It's time to move. And we are truly growing toward tomorrow. Whether you like it or you don't. I give that.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Any other words? And I just want to make sure that everybody's clear. In the name of full transparency here. That's today. You with me? Majority of this council wakes up every day to figure out how do we move this city forward. This is what we're doing today. We'll see what we're doing next week. This city comes first. And as Councilman Pollard correctly pointed out, it is of no consequence of what folks have done in the past. We are moving this city forward. And I will also add that in that interest, for what I've been seeing over the last year and a half, is not conversation to join and to help move the city forward. It's to hammer. Literally, put in prison. And I suspect while all that was happening, folks they had some words or whatever the case may be. Folks need to understand this is a serious council. We will not be swayed. We will not be leveraged. We're going to do what's best for this city, whatever that looks like. And I'm using this tone for a very specific reason, because I want you to know that I mean it. All right. Are you? Any other comments? All right. All right. Again, Council, we have a motion that has been properly seconded. And again, Council, you are authorizing the mayor and or staff to sign all necessary paperwork to facilitate the transfer of the money that is currently, the funds that are currently in the MEAG bank account at PNC Bank, and to authorize our financial advisor, Ed Wall, to facilitate that transaction. I have a motion to properly second. Last Council, any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, let's hear a roll call vote.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilman Palmer,
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. All right, thank you, Council. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, item 8, which will also involve our financial advisor. Item 7, city bank options. Council, what I'll be asking is for a motion to authorize our financial advisor to explore, different banking options throughout this state. And again, to, give them the authority to make those inquiries, if you will. Is there, any questions on that before I ask the question? All right, again, council, is there a motion to authorize our, financial advisor, Ed Wall, to make inquiries into, other, city banking options, throughout this state? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion properly second, any discussion?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we need to do business locally if we want other people to do business locally. This is a bad precedent that you're setting.
Yeah, obviously, Councilman, I respectfully, disagree. We've been trying, I would assume, the city of Camilla is well over a century old. And we've been trying for probably the last 60, doing it, for lack of better words, the old way. And what I can tell you is that right now, 40% of the children in the city are going to be at home. The economic development for many in this town. Now, some folks are eating real good. They play full. But we got a measurable amount of citizens in this city that are not enjoying that. And we have to create an economy that works for everybody and not just for some. And I would argue for the last 5 decades, we've had an economy that has been working for some and not for all. And that is evident when you look at the census data and when you consider the financial position of this city, the well-stated position of this city. From my perspective, it makes absolutely no sense. So what we're going to do, and again, respectfully, disagree. Just try something new. Try something different. I think this is the first time that the city of Camilla, in this way, or in at least in a while, has had a financial advisor specifically designated for the city, that their role every single day is to figure out what is good for the city of Camilla financially. But I appreciate and respect your point, Council. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna just say, even in just those 20 years or decade, how many have the local came to the city of Camilla and said, I'm willing to invest, I'm willing to help, I'm willing to show you something different. I'm ready to see you grow. How many have came to the city of Camilla and said, I'm willing and ready to work with you? That is even more evident that there is nothing happening. But like Mayor said, there's a lot of them going in, quite a bit of them going to bed home, quite a bit of them going to bed full. But there's a whole degree of others that they're going to bed hungry every night. And when we talk about the ignorant part of it, you can act like you sleep, but your eyes are open. You may not want to call it what it is, you may not want to say what it is. But it's evidence. A budget that is 10 million or more sitting there, nothing being done with it. But just let it sit in the bank. And I believe at one point there was a discussion that says, I'm tired of taking your money. Ain't no more interest. But we wrong for exploring other options. I yield that. All right.
Any other comments?
One more comment on
Yes, sir.
with these actions not moving our local money out to Atlanta, disastrous economic development thing I have ever heard of. I don't think you'll find anybody in this state that will not disagree with me.
So Ed, how many municipalities and other authorities participate in the Georgia One Fund?
So, Mayor, there's 180 school systems, 535 cities, 159 counties, and well over half of them utilize Georgia Fund One just because it gives you the highest interest rate.
Okay. So I guess about, yeah. All right. Any other comments? Thank you, Ed. Thank you for that. All right, so council, again, the question on the table, and I think we have a motion that's been properly seconded. Authorizing the mayor and our staff to sign all necessary paperwork to facilitate this transfer of the MEAC account, which is estimated somewhere between 3.8. Oh, sorry. My apologies, everybody. Item 7, city banking options, to authorize Ed Wall, our financial advisor, to explore different banking options throughout this state. It's my understanding we have a motion that's been properly seconded. Any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, your roll call vote.
Councilman Garland,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Fowler,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer,
No,
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, council, and Ed, we look forward to hearing back from you on that particular point, sir.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
All right, item 8, bond exploration for New Camilla Hotel, apartments, and other related purposes. All right, part of economic growth is having folks come visit the city. From my perspective, we need a hotel in this town. A new one. And there's a bunch of different ways, or a few different ways that we can make that happen. The URA earlier today authorized Ed Wall, who's also the financial advisor for the URA, to start developing a business plan for the firehouse in the McNeil building to facilitate those properties for apartments. And actually, my apologies, because 37 Broad is already part of the URA. This would include 37 Broad also. But you can't have the great tournament that we just had a week ago. You know, where did these folks live? Where did they stay while they were here? It's not unusual that we got folks traveling to Thomasville or Albany to stay in a hotel and do business in the city of Philadelphia. So there are ways that we can talk about the construction of a new hotel here in the city. And some of these ways we have never heard of. And if you don't mind, can you talk about that process as it relates to bonds and hotels and potential apartments and this type of thing? How does that work?
Yes, sir. So I'll give you some examples. Americus had an old hotel downtown, and they sold bonds to acquire it, renovate it, and then sold it to a developer to run it after they got it up and go. Waycross did the same thing down their downtown area. Bainbridge recently, in the last 6 months, did a bond issue for a new downtown hotel. Thomasville has done the same thing. Thomas Stun George is in the middle of it. And the process that you go through, it's not the middle of giving a blank check or hauling off and doing something. What you're wanting to do is due diligence. What would it cost? How much revenue would it bring in? Will it pay for itself? If it doesn't, what does your subsidy need to be? Is it worth it to you for economic development to subsidize it, and how much? And so the first thing you do and explore that is I will bring to you a feasibility consultant, and there are 2 of them. There's Woodruff and Associates, used to be CKF, the other one is HBS, they're got an Atlanta office, they're out in Florida. They'll charge you about, I don't know, $7,500, and they do a feasibility study. They tell you how much one will cost, where's the best place for it to be located, what would room rates be, what would the occupancy be, and it tells you, this is how much a business plan, this is how much net income you can get that could carry debt. Then I press numbers and figure out how much debt that would cover and compare that to what it would cost to build it. And then we do an RFQ for a hotel developer, for somebody to come in and be the developer, and they would bring a flag, Marriott, Hilton. I mean, this takes, 2, 3, 4 months to get it going. You all, mayor and council, wouldn't vote yes or no to do it until I applied to you all this information and y'all had your eyes wide open before you got into it. But at least you would explore it, and many towns like you are doing what you're exploring.
All right, thank you, Ed. And we know this to be true. The problem is, or the question is, when is the city of Camilla gonna get in on this? That's the question. We can't have our citizens traveling to other cities to have a good time, to stay in a nice hotel for our visitors. The whole point when you bring people here is for them to stay here and spend money. And I'm just grateful that a majority of this council has decided that, and again, this is not a wheel that's being invented by the city of Camilla. The towns that Ed just mentioned, we ride through them every day, probably visit them every weekend. I guess folks are probably asking the question, how do they do this? Well, they finally got the folks like an Ed to say, help us out.
And they'll be here in the next couple of weeks down in Thomasville.
Indeed.
And young game changers right there, that also coming up.
The only thing that's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that the city of Camilla is going to get off the sidelines. And we're going to get in the game. And if we're lucky, we're going to win a championship. Real talk.
Hypothetically, I was just asked, I'm so excited just to hear about the hotel, and that, input and engagement that could possibly happen, those possibilities. But I also asked, have you ever heard anything about, produce stores, grocery stores, or anything of that nature? Bringing those type of, seeking those type of developers and stuff, in that line of work?
Yes, sir. So I'm currently working on one for Colquitt, Miller County, where a developer has approached them, and I'm doing what we're doing now, due diligence, crunching numbers on it. Did a grocery store for Hayesville, East Point, College Park together. And so there are other jurisdictions wanting the grocery store. Cobb County over in Mapleton gave a tax abatement for a Kroger to get a grocery store in that section of the county that didn't have one. And so there are all kind of tools that y'all have in your toolbox to try to incentivize what you want, whether it be a hotel or a grocery store or office building. Each city and county is different about the things that they want, but you have lots of tools in your toolbox. It's just somebody like me has to come together. Of course, I will encourage you to hire other folks to help me to come up with a business plan so that you got your eyes wide open. Will it pay for itself? Or you got substance? And then you make a decision once I give you the data.
Awesome. I can appreciate it. I'm sure, just the citizens that is watching, and even the ones that are here together, I often we hear the old conversation around grocery stores, being brought to Camilla. Definitely something like the Kroger's, Club is, something come here in the city of Camilla. That is just awesome, but it just also speaks to what we are missing out here because of the local mindset and not willing to open our mind to the endless possibility. like Mayor said, not stuff that have to be invented, but stuff that's already invented. We're just taking parts of it. We just want to jump in the game. Just say,
Yes, sir.
we have it here. We don't have to suffer in silence. We can move to.
What you're doing is kicking tires and seeing if, how much does it cost? Can you afford it? Will it pay for itself? Those are the kinds of things I'll bring back to you.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate your expertise and your wisdom, Ed.
Sure. All right, council. All right, council, is there a motion to authorize our financial advisor, Ed Wall, to explore, the feasibility of a new Camilla Hotel, apartments, and other related, purposes? Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Have a motion, properly second. Any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Fowler,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilman Thomas,
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, item 9, Urban Redevelopment Agency, board appointments. Council, as you know, the Urban Redevelopment, or the URA here in the city of Camilla, those board members are nominated by the mayor per statute. And right now, we have Ms. Warnetta, Commissioner Warnetta Ernst Smith, Commissioner in his second role, Commissioner Dwayne Burley, and as mayor, I am Commissioner Kevin Owens as chair of the Camilla URA, and council what I'll be asking is that at the expiration of the upcoming term of the URA members, that term be automatically renewed to a new 3-year term per commissioner. Last year, only did a year, or recommended a year. This year, I will be recommending for 3 years for each commissioner. So at this time, council, is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, is there a motion to approve the nominations per the mayor of Commissioner Dwayne Burley, Commissioner Warnetta Burns Smith, and Commissioner Kelvin Owens to serve as the chair of the Camilla URA at the expiration of their current term for a new 3-year term? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Fowler,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas,
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, item 10, council bank Camilla funds redesignation. So right now, council, we have about roughly $500,000 in Bank of Camilla, and that fund has been designated as gas reserves. I'm going to speak a little bit on that when we get to item 3, but basically the new rules related to GFA that allows for gas loans, if you will. It hasn't always been that case. But we use some of that money. We had about 1.2 million in that account that had been sitting there. We used some of that last year, maybe a little bit before that, as a stopgap measure here in the city. But we haven't touched it in a while. But we have about 500,000 over there. And what I'm asking council is that, what I will ask is that we redesignate that account, not as a gas reserve account, but as an economic development account. And again, basically what we're doing is changing the name, of that. And once that is done, we'll make some decisions as relates to what ultimately happens, to that $500,000. So, before the question, any comments or questions from the council? All right, council, is there a motion to redesignate, the funds that are currently estimated at roughly $500,000 at Bank of Camilla, in an account, referred to or labeled as, gas reserves, to redesignate that account as economic development, to be used for the purposes of economic development, here in the city of Camilla? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. Motion properly second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, your roll call.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer,
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, council, item 11, as you know, the city of Camilla, currently owns the firehouse on Scott Street and, the A. McNeil building here on Broad Street. Owning parcels, if you will, of those two locations. The URA earlier today, preemptively, if you will, agreed to accept those properties if approved by this council. And again, one of the reasons why we've been transferring these properties to the URA is because the URA has a tremendous amount of flexibility as it relates to what it can do that the city can do as it relates to the development of these properties. And again, this goes hand in hand with the redesignation that we just did with the Bank of Camilla and those $500,000, that we are serious about redevelopment in this city, and not something that we're waiting years to do, literally months. And that is my recommendation. So, council, what I would ask is there a motion to authorize the mayor to sign all documents necessary to facilitate the conveyance of the firehouse on Scott Street and the A. McNeil building on Broad Street to the Camilla URA? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion is properly second. Any discussion?
I understand there was somebody that was wanting to buy the firehouse and put it on the tax rolls, and that seems to be a better route to me.
Yeah, when you're talking about, from my perspective, when you're talking about economic development, not knowing what this individual or individuals wanted to do with it in terms of just putting it back on the tax roll, that building is, I think it was appraised at, off the top of your head, the city manager, I think it was either 100 or a little bit less.
It is right around the
Somewhere in the neighborhood. Yeah, somewhere between 50 and 90. And, so yeah, that'd be great to get it back on the tax roll, but what we want, and for the long-term economic development, is not only get it back on the tax roll, we want it to be a revenue builder for the city of Camilla. And if we can get somebody at the market rate level to come and pay rent and move downtown. Now remember, if you're paying market rate, that means you have a disposable income to buy stuff. You can walk Broad Street and literally buy stuff. The heart of any city is its downtown. There are folks, we just heard from one, I'm a product of it, that talked about the benefit of moving to Southwest Georgia. There are folks all around this state that are looking for opportunities to come here and live. And these are folks that are making very good salaries. that are tired of the hustle and bustle of the big city. And they got disposable income to keep these businesses open. We cannot continue to rely. It's only so many items same folks can continue to buy. With the disposable income into the city, ladies and gentlemen, that's the only way we're going to survive. The old way has been, if you needed extra money, you just raise the electric bill on folks. We don't do that anymore. So,
You talking about making apartments out of old firehouse, is that what you're saying?
yes, sir. And
So how many could you put in there?
that is the beauty of Ed Wall. This is part of the feasibility study that he would do. Is that right, Ed?
Yes, sir, Mayor, that's right, sorry, I had to unmute myself. That is correct. No, you won't know the answer to that till we kick the tires and get somebody to tell us, this is how much it costs to make that building apartments, this is what they would pay, this is economic spin-off in the city. So you would get that data and then analyze it versus this purchase price, take whichever one is better.
Indeed. Thank you. All right, good questions, thank you. All right, any other comments?
One thing on this,
Yes, sir.
McNeil building,
Yes, sir.
we have a lease with the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the FSA office and other government offices in that building, and they've been there since it was built. It was designed for them, that ground floor. Residential and that, I don't think will mix, and, those people would possibly leave here, go to another town. The farmers depend on that, and it would be a disaster to downtown to allow that agency to leave this city.
And to Councilman Palmer's point, which is good, actually, that has already been explored. We just signed a new long-term lease with USDA, and we told them before they signed the lease that there was about a 99.99% chance we're going to be building apartments on top of it. They signed the lease for at least 5 years. So, sir, so to your point, they are already aware that this is what we're doing. As a matter of fact, as part of this new lease with them, we agreed to do certain security upgrades to ensure that the apartment side of the house does not interfere with the business side of the house. The city manager is working on that right now. That was part of the lease. So again, USDA, mere months ago, signed a new 5-year lease with the understanding that we will be building apartments upstairs, and we agreed to put in place certain security measures to make sure that there isn't any interference as it relates to that. But I'll also point out to my colleague that all around this state and all around this country, mixed-use housing is everywhere, on every counter, on every corner, where you have residential upstairs, business downstairs, and in between. So again, this is not a new concept. So this is already happening. It just hasn't been happening in the city of Camilla. That's all. All right. Any other comments? All right, council, is there, or did I already do the motion? You got a motion in a second? Perfect. All right, so council, we have a motion and a second for the conveyance of the firehouse on Scott Street, the A.A. McNeil building on Broad Street to Camilla URA. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, let's do a roll call.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Palmer,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer,
No,
Mayor votes yes, the motion carries. Thanks, council. All All right. Item 12, Fall Music Festival. All right, so council, again, as we mentioned before, and let me just see here, where's Joe's team? At this time, and if you're good, I think that's about all we have for you tonight, my friend.
Okay, I'm good, Mayor. Thank you very much. Council, look forward to working with y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right. Yeah. Excuse me. Thank you, sir. Item 12, Fall Music Festival. So, earlier or last week, had an opportunity to meet with arguably Southwest Georgia's, if not South Georgia's, largest promoter, specifically dealing with, in this instance, what they call Southern Soul, if you will. It goes by the name of DJ Trucker. DJ Trucker has roughly about 1 million followers on social media, puts on these events all across this country, frankly. But here in Southwest Georgia, he has a particular foothold here. Just haven't been here in the city of Camilla. And I don't think really that close to us. We have, you just heard that we just redesignated $500,000 in economic development. We're transferring another $4 million in economic development. We have, as you said, not encumbered about $700,000 in ARPA. And I guess the point that I'm making is, and another $9 million at the municipal trust. I guess the point that I'm making is, we have a tremendous amount of resources here in the city of Camilla. And we're gonna have to invest and continue to make investments in this town in order to move forward. One of the things that we have not done is got with a promoter on the status of DJ Trucker to, and now I'm gonna ask you to help me out here in a second, to where we would go into where we are sharing, or the city is sharing parts of the ticket sales. And right now, we are considering having them come out with some of the biggest names in Southern Soul in August to be out at the stadium and use that stadium. Right now, that stadium stays dormant the majority of the year. And it's time to put that stadium to use where it is generating revenue for this city. And if we can get somebody like DJ Trucker to put the city of Camilla on the map as it relates to, we have a venue down here, not only would it activate him again, it would activate folks that are looking to come. Everybody can't keep going to Albany. They're looking for different places, but they don't know that we exist. Somebody with 1 million followers can help us out with that. Again, this is how we keep from raising taxes and raising utility rates on our citizens. So council, even though we would get some of this money back in the ticket sales, and not even talking about the economic development indirectly that the city is going to receive from it, we may do very well. But council, what I'm asking is that we designate $20,000 for economic development to help facilitate this fall music festival here in the city of Camilla during the month of August to be over in the entertainment zone over in the stadium. So if there's any comments, let's reserve those for the discussion period. So council, at this time, is there a motion to designate $20,000 from economic development to facilitate a fall music festival and to authorize the mayor to sign any documents necessary to facilitate this fall festival. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion is properly second. Any discussion?
Just from a planning point, do we have a target week yet in August? Or we still trying to work those details out?
Yeah, we're still trying to work, but it will be in August, though. Yes, sir. It will be in August. Good question. And, Madam Attorney, can you talk on the, for lack of better words, the profit sharing piece? This is not something that we've ever done before in the city of Manila on this field.
Right. I guess,
But go ahead, please.
this particular item is befitting and in line with what you all have been discussing all night on growing the city, expanding economic opportunities for the city. In that same vein, private-public partnership such as this will have and can have and often does have exponential benefits to the public at large, and can provide an additional source of revenue to the city. And so these type of events, arrangements are not uncommon. I have done them for 20 years. I've seen them done in other jurisdictions in various degrees. And so again, this is just nothing new under the sun, but something probably new to Camilla and in line and in keeping with the purpose and goal that the majority of council has envisioned for this great city.
All right. Thank you, Madam Attorney. Any questions for the city attorney? Okay. All right, council. Again, we're talking about designating $20,000 from economic development to facilitate a fall music festival. Fall music festival, partnering as it stands right now with DJ Trucker. But the budget or the money allocated is at $20,000. Any other discussion?
Just think about the wonderful opportunities for our locals that have food truck vendors and different things that will be able to actually take place. I'm sure if you're going out and listening to the festivities and enjoying the festivities such as Southern Soul, if you're used to it, you're gonna need some food. You're gonna want some food, and just a wonderful opportunity to be able to collaborate with those people and to bring them into town and talk about food. And just overall, just the whole atmosphere of Southern Soul. When we talk about the quality of life for the citizen here at Camilla, and what that looks like. So I just think this is a great opportunity. I think it's, like I said, for the benefit of the quality of life, but also looking at it from the home perspective of the business, of our small businesses. That wonderful opportunity that I'm sure will be coming aboard when we're doing something like this, that they can take advantage of, such as like the Juneteenth as well too. No different venues that can take place, take part in something such as this. So I'm just related to be giving that opportunity to our folks and others.
Indeed. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, your roll call.
Councilman Garland,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Paul,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
No.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you. All right. Item 13, sports sponsorship. Council, you recall last year, we, city, sponsored a basketball program for Tar Heels to the tune of $10,000 to help them as they travel throughout the country in these tournaments, these basketball tournaments. This year, they're requesting is $2,500 to do the exact same thing. And I'll be honest with you, I can't wait until this new gym is built because getting those kinds of tournaments in the city of Camilla, preferably in a hotel place, the it's just amazing. It's just amazing, potential. So again, council, this is for $2,500, from, economic development. Or, you know, we can also use this, there's also a potential for ARPA and these types of things. So what I'll ask council is that the $2,500, we'll leave that up to the city manager to determine that pot money to take it from. So at this time, council, is there a motion to approve the sponsorship for basketball tournament for the Tar Heels for this year? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion is properly second. Any discussion? And I think, yes, sir.
Just as a reference from last year, there's a great deal of this sports sponsorship, that degree that I know closely, but have and serve no personal interest or gain, to me.
So that if I'm understanding correctly, Councilman, that you know the folks that run this program,
Yes, sir.
but you don't benefit from it. All right. All right.
Thank you for that disclosure, council. Thank you for that disclosure. There's no conflict of interest, given what you stated.
I appreciate it.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Madam Clerk, for roll call.
Councilman Berlin,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
No.
Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you. All right. Item 14, Council, did you guys get a look at that t-shirt design? Okay. That t-shirt design, was developed by the Black Culture Committee, Camilla Black Culture Committee, related to that. It's gonna have a sea of Camilla on there, and this is one of the reasons why it's back before this board, to approve that, design. Let me see here. So this is the front and back. This is the front here. And this is the back. And the reason why it's in front of you, council, is because it has signature Camilla at the bottom. So council, at this time, is there a motion to approve this t-shirt design?
So moved.
Second. Motion proper second. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Berlin,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Motion carries. All right. Item 15, library. Library donation fund. One second. I just want to share the letter council.
So there's a letter from the library.
Yeah, from letter from the library. Thank you. I thought I had it ready to go. So council, as you can see, on April 17th, there was a letter from the Soul Trail Regional Library that was hand delivered here to the city, addressed to the city manager on April 17th. And the content of the letter was basically, Mr. Stroud, the library enrichment program beginning in 2011 in partnership with the city of Camilla allows the city utility customer to add $1 or more to their monthly utility bill to be donated to the library. These funds emanate from participating in customers and are different from the city of Camilla's budgeted financial support. And in essence, they say our records show that we received the first payment of these funds from the city of Camilla in August 2012. Payments arrived quasi annually thereafter. However, it appears we have not received payments since June 2020. Please let us know when we can expect payment of the balance of funds collected since the last submission, and we can expect regular payments going forward. And what I would do is share with you in consultation with the city manager the response to that, which is it's addressed to the treasurer of the library. I'm Ms. Bellew. I hope all is well. This is the city manager, again, in concert with the mayor. I'm in receipt of your letter dated April 17th, and we sent this back either the next day or shortly the same day. I'm in receipt of your letter dated April 17, 2024 regarding donated library fund included in payments from the city of Camilla customers. Ironically, I recently had a conversation with Mayor Owens regarding these donations/payments, and we're currently exploring the donations received exceeded $40,000 annually, or more recently, $15,000. So basically, what we're saying here is that we went back to look and see how much money was actually donated by the citizens. Up until this year, we were paying or donating, if you will, or allocating $40,000 to the library. So the idea would be, because the people are paying this money through their electric bill, this money is going to the general fund. There's no, you don't know which dollar or $2 or whatever the case may be. So in essence, all of this, so when the city paid the $40,000, this money was part of the $40,000. And until more recently, the $15,000. What we didn't know is how much was being donated. So if there was going to be, if somebody donated, if there was a total of $41,000, then we needed to pay the library $1,000, if that makes any sense. So we went and pulled all the records to see exactly how much money was actually being donated. And if it was less than $40,000 or less than $15,000, then our money is already inside of the money that we sent into the library anyway. And as a city manager, if you have those numbers, what were those amounts?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Staff and I pulled those numbers, and there are about 30 citizens that contribute to this fund. Most of them contribute $1 a month. There's a handful that contributes about 5, 2 or 3, 10, but at the end of the day, it's less than $1,500.
Okay. So is that per month or per year?
That's annual.
Okay. So that everybody understands, what was being donated through the Camilla billing system was about $1,500. The city was sending $40,000, and until recently, $15,000. So from our perspective, there isn't any money to forward to the library. But that being said, what has happened in the last 3 years, or maybe even 4 years, the city of Camilla's billing system has changed. We're still capturing these amounts, but part of this process is that the library would have been part of the administrative process. Obviously, we're not sending the library a bill for helping us, for the money that's coming in. We're not going to do that. But that being said, council, what I'm going to be recommending is that we get out of this particular business, to get from in between the donor and the library. We want to encourage the donors to continue to donate to the library. Please continue to do that. Council, what I'm recommending is that the city does not facilitate that, or does not facilitate that transaction for a real good reason. If you read the letter from the library, one of the things that they said was, there were gaps between 2011, 2012, 2020. The staff, we're not tracking that stuff like that. And for the city manager to start devoting folks to do it that way, from my perspective, isn't feasible, and it really isn't practical. And again, we think that the same way, it obviously added a degree of convenience, if you will. But I think if the library reach out to these folks, have them send their check or their money order or their cash, over recent months and weeks, there's been fundraisers and a lot of, so folks know how to get money to the library. And on that, we're gonna have a real conversation about that this budget season, as it relates to that. Because it's good to see that the community is getting out and supporting the library as it should be. That the community is getting out and supporting the library in this way. Volunteers getting out and doing this. This is good stuff. And I think, in a lot of ways, wise government in the middle of all of that. But that's a whole nother conversation for the budget season. All that being said, council, I'm going to be asking for a motion for us to suspend this donor program and encourage the citizens to pay this money directly to the library. And Madam Attorney, just want to get your input on that recommendation.
Yes, sir. Mayor and Council, we looked at the original resolution creating this line item on the utility bill, and it was just done by simple resolution, majority votes, and put in place. The city retains its legislative discretion and authority to end this utility line item, donor line item, at its pleasure, the same way it was created, without any legal liability or any type of adverse action to the city. And so if you want to end it and do it at a clean time, the next billing cycle to take that out, you certainly have that right to do so. And there's no legal impediment to you all ending that line item donation request.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. And I guess the next question, Mr. City Manager, would be, from your perspective, in terms of staff, do you have the staff capacity to manage this program?
We've discussed that in great length, Mayor, and certainly we're in favor of us not being in the middle of it.
All right, Council. All right, before the question, any questions or comments of the City Manager or the City Attorney?
Our guess would be, how soon can this, would this take place, will we not? I mean, would it take a council to vote that we end this,
Yeah,
As soon as a contract,
No, it was just a
Just a
resolution.
resolution.
That's it.
Can we
And
end this resolution as, voted upon?
yeah, I think what we can do is authorize the city manager to end this program if the majority council agrees in this program as, the city attorney mentioned, probably the next building cycle,
Yes, sir.
just to make it cleaner. So I think that would be inclusive, of the motion, for that time, but, Councilman Collins.
Did the city attorney think that it was, not extra money, or did you think was in the 40,000 or 15,000?
That is a great question. Madam Attorney, Councilman Collins is asking, do you concur, in the absence of anything else, that the money that was paid via the donation was inclusive, of the money that the city was, transferring to the library?
I do believe that was inclusive, Councilman Collins. There was no segregation of those donated amounts, if any. And given the fact that the city paid the $40,000 or whatever previous amount it had paid to the library, there is no way to discern whether or not a dollar donation was included within that $40,000 or not. There's just no reasonable, practical way to make that determination. And as the mayor indicated, we want to ensure that as long as there was never a year where there was money in excess of $40,000 that were donated, then there might be an argument for having to reimburse or dole out those particular excess funds. But seeing how that wasn't the case, that the amount that was donated was nowhere near the amount that was already being taken from the general fund to give to the library, we felt confident that there's no additional funds that needed to be added before we just cease the program, if that's what the will of the majority is.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. All right, council, any other questions?
I still say I think that money was above and beyond what the city was giving to the library, and if we owe any money, we should pay it.
Yeah, so,
That's not city money donated by individuals.
gotcha. So, Mr. City Manager, again, for the record, how much money annually will we receive for the donations?
Based on our research, Mr. Mayor, it came out to less than $1,500 annually.
Thank you. All right, any other comments? Council?
Well, I think those people that were giving it probably felt like they were giving extra.
Yeah, I think that was the premise of the program, that if the bill was $500, you would give 510. And 10 in that extra 10 would go towards the library. What the city manager has declared is that there are 30 participants in that program. And of those 30 participants, the annual amount per person, or collectively, if you will, was less than $1,500. So they were given extra, to your point. But in the collective pot of donations, that money did not exceed $1,500. And surely not $40,000 a year. Or 15. That's happening now. Any other comments? All right, council, is there a motion to discontinue the library donation fund project effective at the discretion of the city manager not to exceed the next billing cycle? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion properly second, any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk's roll call.
Councilman Garland,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
No.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, council, the last item, action item, for tonight is, council, you received this ordinance this afternoon. because we had to do some research and after talking to, the city manager, felt pretty comfortable in presenting this, to the council, and specifically, for the audience and for the council, if you're not aware, we changed our charter, in roughly 2018, 2019. And the charter prior to that in 2017. And our charter outlines everything that we're allowed to do. It is the city's constitution, if you will. And it basically tells us, it's our guidebook on how we run government. And in there, it outlines what everybody's responsibilities are. The council, mayor, city manager, city attorney, clerk, everybody. It outlines how we run this city on a daily basis. And in 2019, when the charter was changed, and this was a charter, and to be honest with you, the only person that approved this council, this charter, that's sitting on this council right now, is Councilman Palmer. So everything that I'm about to tell you was approved by Councilman Palmer and that previous council. In 2017 or 2018, I was in Lake Charles somewhere. What I was doing is of no consequence. Worry about that. For everybody else, Councilman Morgan, I think you were still in school at the time. Bottom line, no one on this council except for Councilman Palmer. When they changed the charter at that time, the mayor had a very specific role. The mayor could only vote in case of a tie, 3-3. But also back then, it only took 3 votes to pass something in the city of Camilla. All right. The council decided that it's going to take 4 votes to pass something in the city of Camilla. But they added another line to the mayor's ability to vote. And again, the logic, the rationale, no one here but Councilman Palmer can answer that question. But it was determined that the mayor will also be able to vote to give the majority for or against something. So that's why when you see the voting and you see 3 votes and I vote, prior to 2018 or 2019, I couldn't have done that. But because of this change, now I can. But also, they added in there another authority for the mayor, per the approval via ordinance of the council. And that was, if the council deems it necessary, they can give the mayor additional or supplemental executive and administrative authority. Now again, why that was done in 2018 or 2019, I have no idea. Wasn't here. But it's our charter. And tonight, what I'm recommending to the council is that we activate that portion of the charter. And again, any questions directly of the rationale behind it, those questions will have to be directed towards Councilman Palmer, seeing as though he was the only one that voted for it. That's currently serving on the council. And let me just read this ordinance prior to the vote so everybody understands. Actually, let me do this. Yeah, let me read it so before I even make the motion, that everybody understands what you may be motioning, or what you may be getting the question for. An ordinance of the city of Camilla, Georgia, granting certain executive and administrative powers to the mayor in the absence or availability of the city manager. Whereas section 231 of the city charter provides that the city manager shall be the chief executive and administrative officer of the city of Camilla. And whereas section 2.34, paragraph 6 of the city charter provides that the mayor shall fulfill such other executive and administrative duties as the council shall by ordinance establish. And whereas mayor and council recognize that there may be certain instances requiring immediate action during a time in which the city manager is unavailable. And whereas the mayor and council deems it in the best interest of the citizens of Camilla to ensure that in such events, the needs of the city are promptly and adequately addressed. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Camilla that the mayor shall be authorized to fulfill executive and administrative duties requiring immediate action when the city manager is unavailable to address such matter. Be it further ordained that upon exercising such authority, the mayor shall notify the city manager as soon as practical thereafter to allow the city manager the ability to fulfill his prescribed duties upon his availability. Be it further ordained that all prior resolutions and ordinances in conflict with the subject provisions and mandate be and hereby repealed. So, in essence, the authority, if approved by this council, would be if the city, and by the way, everybody, city manager Stroud, what is your position on this?
Mr. Mayor, this ordinance is just makes good business sense. And what I mean by that is if I am out of pocket, the business of the city still has to go on. So I support you being able to make decisions. Just let me know as quickly as you can according to the law.
Okay, thank you. So I want to make sure everybody understands that this isn't we're not gonna cold city manager. This is when the city manager is not available. And even when he's not available, if there is a decision for me to make, if you will, the council is telling me that as soon as practical, I have to let him know. The city manager, this is what I did and this is why I did it. And now the ball is back in your court. Because I think this sentence here is very telling. The city manager, as soon as practical thereafter, to allow the city manager the ability to fulfill his prescribed duties upon his availability. So I don't hold on to it. The city manager, this is what I did. This is why I did it. Go and take care of that. Going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 17 items on this agenda tonight, and we haven't even gotten to next week yet. This city is moving, and I think I said this for 2 years running now, the operational tempo of this city was going to increase. All hands on deck to include the mayor, and I don't get anything extra for this, by the way. This is about moving the city forward. Nothing more, nothing less. All right. So, council, with that, and if there's any other comments, council, what I'll ask you to do is have those during the discussion here. Madam Attorney, any thoughts before the question?
No, sir, you explained it beautifully, and thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, council, is there a motion to approve an ordinance of the city of Camilla, Georgia, granting certain executive and administrative powers to the mayor in the absence or unavailability of the city manager? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion is properly second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, it's your roll call.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilman Pollard,
Yes.
Councilman Palmer.
No,
Mayor votes yes, motion carries, and because this was not a unanimous deal, because this is an ordinance, we'll have a second reading between now and next Monday, or 3 days, if you will, 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours after today. All right, thank you, Council. All right, this city manager.
Yes, sir.
Action items for next week. And council, I think we'll be able to blow through this pretty quickly. But I will be remiss if I didn't ask if anybody want to take a break. That's it, man.
That's nothing for me to read.
I got you. No problem, sir. So, council, there will be a proclamation, identifying May as Mental Health Month, here in the city of Camilla. And correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Morgan, this is your deal, correct?
So actually, John Walker contacted me on if you can come make another visit with y'all.
Indeed, indeed. All right, Councilman, appreciate you. All right, so Councilman, council members, proclamation for May being Mental Health Month. Is there at least 3 council members who keep this as an action item for next week? All right, thank you. Okay, yes, sir, please.
Item number 2, Mayor and Council, as you know, that's a long-term employee, and so we want to honor him. All my staff and I have talked about it, so we're hoping that this body, Mayor, will issue a proclamation on his behalf after almost 7 decades of service.
And then the employee?
Yes, sir, Charles Kelly.
And council, I would add, and it's not included in the proclamation, but sure we can get it in there, is that on that day that we honor him, that we make that Charles Kelly Day in the city of Camilla. So that will be the way forward. So is there at least 3 council members are willing to keep this as an agenda item for next week? All right, thank you, Council. Yes, sir.
Number 3, Mr. Mayor, the proposal from York about our roads inside the cemeteries. As you know, we did it initially, I did it in 2 phases, but we decided to do all the work in 1 phase. It's in your packet. That bid, it should be going out, I believe, next Wednesday. We are in communication with the young lady that runs the cemetery for us. We've done all the surveys, did everything that we think we could do to make sure that there's no disturbance to any family plots. So once those bids get out, then of course I'll bring back the numbers before we do anything. I know there was some questions about subsurface roads. Probably the best description I can give you, if you're going into the airport, that road is a subsurface road, and that's an old one. Ours will be in much better shape. I'm gonna be putting two subsurface treatments down in the cemetery, which means it'll be a lot more durable than what you see out of there. Subject to your question.
All right. All right, council. Are there at least 3 council members? Keep this as an action item for next week. Okay. Thank you.
Number 4, Mr. Mayor, is York needs our permission, or your permission, this council's permission, to employ the mechanical people, the architects, the electrical engineers, all the people that they need to do to continue to work on designing our new gymnasium.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, council, is there at least 3 council members that will keep this as an action item next week? And again, this will be contingent upon city attorney's approval.
Yes, sir.
All right. Item 5, agricultural seasonal rate approval. This is something, obviously, and I want to thank Councilman Collins for staying on top of this. To finally bring some relief to our food producers and our ag producers here in the city and in the county and in this region, or specifically our customers. Basically what, in essence, and Councilman Collins, you want to talk to us a little bit on why this rate is important to the farmers?
Well, they just don't use any gas, and their bill is high when they're not using gas. I mean, they use gas for just 3 months of the year.
And in a lot of ways, everybody, unlike a regular, I'm calling it a regular business, if you will, that pay the standby charge, folks have to pay that. Well, to Councilman Collins' point, for some of our food producers, they're still paying that even when they're not harvesting. And that's just not the way to do business. And I'm glad to say that, that this council, is considering, putting this into action, for the first time in the city's history. So at this time, is there at least 3 council members that will keep this as an action item next week? All right, thank you. All right, so now we'll drop down to discussion items. Number 1, spay and neuter program policy, the city manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Last time, this body asked me to come up with some rules and regulations about this spay and neuter program. We did a lot of research, and it really comes down to making sure that we ask these participants to make sure their animals are vaccinated completely, to show proof of their vaccination records, to include the rabies shots, making sure they are tagged and or microchipped before any funds are dispensed, and they will have about 30 days, depending on if they can get an appointment with an approved veterinarian for the services. And then, of course, they have to show us documentation. So those will be the basic rules for any participant to participate in this policy.
All right, thank you, city manager.
Yes, sir.
Any questions regarding that, council? Okay. Mr. City Manager, what are the odds of us having that laid out in black and white for next month?
We can make that happen. The policy is not a long policy, but
Okay.
you guys asked me just for council rules, and that's what we come up with. But certainly I can get it written.
Good deal. All right, council, at least 3 council members that will move this to an action item for next week. All right.
So will there be a closed ceiling on this, or will we have partnerships with state Georgia?
Yeah, and again, those details, and over the next week or so, we can work those out.
Item number 2, Mr. Mayor and Council, the elderly designation. As you know, the elderly that we did a few months ago, we got those funds in. The roles that we put in for, those roles have been identified. Our contractor, Stillwater, is still doing the specifications, making sure there's no drainage issues that's will hinder our paving on these existing roads. So he's doing all the specs, and once that's completed, probably in the next couple of weeks, we will put that bid on the street. We also got some additional funds that you heard me talk about. So once I get this first bid on the street, this first set of roads, then I've already asked some of you, hopefully all of you, to send me roads that you want to pave inside your districts. So I do have some, but we also have some more that we're going to add on. And depending on which of the worst roads is what I would recommend we spend our money on. So we have 2 projects, one existing, and we got another one that's coming up. And this second one that's coming up does not require the 30% match.
And everybody, after the second one, there's a third one. So there is a lot of roads going to get paid in the city of Camilla this year.
Roughly like $107,000 unmatched.
Right.
Yeah, the city of Camilla will receive.
Say it again, Councilman.
The city of Camilla will receive about $107,000 that we will receive from LMed, which is like city manager said, unmatched. So in essence, it's free money for the city of Camilla.
Oh, and one other thing, Councilman, if you don't mind, I want to celebrate. If you go out to McDonald, Fuller, and Butler, you'll see our railroad crossings are done. Much smoother.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that
Okay.
on the other deal.
Oh, man, I was just gonna celebrate that.
Yeah, that's 10 years into that. All right.
I apologize.
No, you're good. I'm just illustrating what's happening in the city. But I'm gonna get on the box really quick. Councilman, you have a question?
Yeah, city manager, Stroud, did you say you have the bid out for the LG?
Not the first set. He's still working on specs, so it probably won't be coming out for another week or so.
Do you have the streets that you submitted?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the first one, we submitted, hold on, I can give you all those streets. There's Thomas, Albert Lane, and one other, hold on. It is Perry Street from Cochran, ending at Bennett, Thomas, starting at Barrett Street and ending at Stadium Drive. And then we did Albert Lane, starting at Bags Ferry, all the way through to the cul-de-sac. And there's only one on there that we're still looking at. We might have some else in it, but for right now, those are the ones that we have in the system.
Again, we'll be able to do this 2 more times this year. This is good for the city. Good for the city. All right. All right, G for gas loans, just real quick. Everybody, G for loans, you probably did have water and sewer and that type of thing, but for the first time, the legislature approved for G for loans to now go towards gas programs. And this is one of the reasons why I'm, feeling pretty comfortable as it relates to the redesignation of the money that we had over at Bank of Development, the economic development funds. That, and obviously, have been sitting there for years, but that's good news for cities and counties around the state. That gas is also part of that, because obviously we're a gas provider also. All right. Number 4, packaged alcohol sales, dates for application process. So right now, everybody, we're about ready to put it on the street for folks to start sending in their applications. So we're in the last stages of approving the application on the administrative side. And here very shortly, I would argue within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to have start announcing that the applications are available. And then once the application process or period is open, and I'll be recommending to the council that we leave that program open for about 30 days. After 30 days, we get all of the applications in, take another 30 days to evaluate who's eligible, and then right after that, have a lottery and see who gets those 3 licenses, and then move forward. And we're hoping that by the fall, folks will be in a position to open up package sales here in the city of Camilla. And again, this is another way of the city of Camilla receiving revenue without raising taxes and utility rates. I want to thank the majority of this council that had the foresight last year to put this as a referendum for the city of Camilla to vote on. So that's that. Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, Cheryl Ford, everybody. Appreciate that, Cheryl. The city manager, let's talk about the scores, which the idea is to have scores opening up by the end of this month. But the ordinance that we just passed does not require a newspaper notification, if you will, for alcohol caterers. Okay, so you don't have to put that in the paper and advertise it and show it for 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. This is for caterers. And then obviously, and just on that note, we're still researching. We don't even think that that's even that's something that you never have to put that in the paper anyway as it relates to that going forward. Madam Attorney, are you still working on that?
I am. I should have something out to mayor and council during the course of this week on that particular question.
Okay. But I think initially that hits your ears, and obviously you're gonna do the research, but, just trying to see where that potentially came from, is that right? Or even if that's something that we have to do.
That's correct. We're just trying to just make certain if past, practices that were not specifically brought forward to the new ordinance have to be maintained.
And again, thank you, Madam Attorney. Again, Council, that's one of the things that we're working to make sure that staff is up on as it relates to, because this stuff is happening so fast, that there's elements that obviously folks are not aware is inside of the new ordinance. And the city manager has the authority, based on the current ordinance, to go ahead and issue the caterer, the alcohol caterer, and the food, all of it, on his authority, and specifically the alcohol piece. But in consultation with the city manager, as we often do, we just thought that it was better that in the world of transparency, to have the council publicly ratify the city manager's decision, even though he can make that decision all day long. We thought it'd be a good idea for the council to support that decision.
Just to add.
Yes, please.
To add that the caterer's license is state issued license that allows the caterer to transport alcohol. So I wanted to make that clear. It just wasn't any type of catering license. It is a state issued license.
And all of the vetting that comes with it.
That's correct. All of the vetting, the state requirements, the background checks, everything that is required to do annually in order to hold that state license, and then to be able to transport alcohol from point A to point B for the purposes of serving it. All of that is regulated by the state and is issued by virtue of that state issued local license.
Indeed, appreciate you.
So our state issued alcohol licenses that can be used for local purposes.
Yes, absolutely. So hence the part where even though she's able to transport the alcohol anywhere here in the state, we have an ordinance, and I think part of the state side of the house is that if there's a local process, that they have to do that too, and that's the catering side. And again, that doesn't require the council approval, that doesn't require advertising in the paper, any of that. But for this being the first time that we're doing this, the city manager will feel a lot more comfortable if an outlet to have the council ratify that. So council, at this time, is there a motion to amend the agenda for tonight to add the item to ratify the city manager's or the city's catering alcohol license here in the city of Camilla? Is there a motion to add this item to the agenda?
Motion. Second.
No motion's been properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Councilor Collins, yes. Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, council, at this time, is there a motion to approve the city manager's catering's application, alcohol caterer's application here for the city of Camilla? Is there a motion?
So second.
A motion properly second. All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right.
Get us through.
All right, thank you, sir. And then, obviously, we touched on 5 earlier. All right, council, item 6. All right, council, what I want to add to the agenda, but you know what, we'll work that out next week, that's fine, good disregard. All right, any other items from council members? All right, council, it appears we've reached the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, who wants to discuss on it? Oh, I was just saying, what was the update on the nonprofit for the city?
Yeah, so, still working on that. The priority has been, bond issue and, alcohol license. So, but, Madam Attorney, the way I understand it though, is that we pretty much got all the pieces in place. We just need to bring it back to the body, is that correct?
Yes, Councilman, we need to have, do the bylaws, and, I can do some, preliminary bylaws for you all to consider and tinker with. You have inside your bylaws, your board members and who you want to appoint and what, the length of time that they'll serve. So I can put together a, cursory document and then allow, you all to legislatively tell me how you want it to look ultimately. And so, now that we've got the bond, most of the bond issues sort of on its way and it's moving, I'll give that my first attention as well.
Okay. And no question, but I just wanted to ask the update.
Indeed. And to be honest with you, the way that we're using the URA has really helped out in ways that we would have used the nonprofit. But once that comes online, we'll be able to do even more. All right. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Just one last thing,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Howard, those caps that you asked me about, they're on order. As soon as I get them, I'll make sure they're in. And what,
The gate,
yeah, the gates are being, that gate that was damaged is being repaired, the other ones are off. Yes, sir. The idea is I was trying to get it repaired before we spend more money on another gate.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
motion.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Excuse me.
Good night, Mayor.